Day 51
of the 29th year and beyond.
So, what I would like to talk about is the importance of really sharing what you need to share, experiencing what you need to experience. Um, Television show Last Man Standing. Tim Allen plays a guy named Mike, and his father has passed. And in this episode, he's got all his father's stuff that's come to his house that he has to now process, get rid of, and all that kind of stuff. But he's reminiscing with basically the ghost of his father,
Okay.
and reflecting upon the fact that his father was not such a great dad, according to him. And as he's having this interaction, he says, you know, I don't ever recall you saying you love me. And then his father responds by saying, well, I don't ever recall you saying you love me. And then so Mike says, well, I was going to. And the father says, well, I was going to. But then the father also says, but sometimes life doesn't wait for us. And I just thought that was so poignant and so true. There are often times when we intend to share things, do things, and we don't. And not being mindful that life is not always going to wait or work according to our schedule.
That's true. That's one of the reasons why I think it's always important. Because we always say, I love you.
Oh, I do love you.
When we're on the phone, we always say, I love you. And if we pray together in the morning, but if we don't, we try to get to one another early in the morning to pray together. If there's an issue or something, we try to discuss it. Because early on, that was a challenge for me. Fred, the great communicator, he likes to talk. As Amber says, mansplain. But he likes to talk. But just like for in this episode, Mike, didn't get a chance to say what he wanted to say to his father. And that reminded me of one of our favorite movies, Imitation of Life.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Lana Turner, the Lana Turner version.
Yes.
I kissed my mother.
Yes.
What was going to say? The reality is this. Too many times I think we may make the mistake of putting things off and say, I'll get around to it.
Yes.
I'll deal with it later. There may not be a later.
That's true.
And so it's important for you to address whatever you want to address, whether it's something wonderful, celebratory, or whether it's something challenging and difficult. That's why it's important to experience whatever it is that you want to experience. Because when we say, well, this is not the right time, or I'll get around to it
later,
or I'm just not ready. The reality is this. All we know for certain is the opportunity that we have right here and right now.
That's right. That is so true. And, I often think with my mom, because my mom was not really a nurturing kind of person. I mean, we knew she loved us, but she was never that I love you, never the huggy, kissy kind of person. She didn't start hugging and kissing anybody till you, John, and Amber, and Zoe came along. But I always knew how she felt. And so now I'm very intentional about when I talk to her, I say, well, I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. I always say that because this wasn't something that I grew up hearing. I really didn't start saying I love you on a regular basis until I married your dad.
But it doesn't matter what the example was for you or wasn't for you.
That's
you
right.
still get to choose.
Yes.
And I just think it's incredibly important to capitalize on the opportunities. I reflect upon how many of my family members and friends that I went to as far back as elementary school with who were gone.
Yes.
Some of before they had a prime of life. And so, it's not about being old and decrepit that you have to worry about death. Folks are leaving here every day. Some very seasoned, some barely out of the womb.
That's right.
And some don't make it out of the womb. And so, I don't know, when he said sometimes life doesn't wait for us, it just struck me in a very significant way to heighten my awareness to the fact that you have to take advantage of the time that you have. Not the time that you think you will have, not the opportunities that may come, the opportunity that is present. So you know I love you.
I love you too.
And until tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.
Say it down.